Da 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 da, oh oh, oh. Da 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 da, making our Christmas memories.
Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel, Mama, Mrs and Me. Today's video is a kids Christmas gift guide. They're well into the festivities and the festive period now. All of the major department stores, food shops, everything have started their Christmas advertising. And it's also Cyber Month. It's the time when lots of discounts are going to come into play. So it's the perfect time to get ready for some Christmas shopping. As with anything that I show you today is subjective. My children range from 23 all the way down to 4 years old. So I will say that at the start, things that I'm going to share are aimed at younger children. And there are some options there if you do have older children. So do stick around. You can also jump forward if you want to, if some of the things that are for younger children aren't relevant. However, what I would say is that I'm sure there are children in your families or in your friendship groups who you could potentially buy for, or there are suggestions here that you can share with friends and family members for their children or the young people in their lives. So let's get started. As with anything, everything will be linked down below in the description box. There will be some affiliate link that is no additional cost to you, just a benefit for me for sharing some of these products from different companies and different organisations. And that's just a disclaimer that I'm putting out there. Alongside this video, there will be a blog post that would be going up onto my website that also has a kids gift guide. It will be pretty much all of the same items with clickable links. And if you prefer to sort of read and have a look or save it and look again on another day, will be up on my website. But the clickable links will also be in the description box down below. So let's get started. So the very first thing on my list are going to be toys that are associated with the year's biggest films. Now, my two youngest children are boys, and so they were really into both the Ninja Turtle movies that came out earlier on this year, as well as the Super Mario film. We also went to see the Little Mermaid. So if you have girls, there will be lots of Little Mermaid merch, and I'll stick that up on the screen for you now so that you can have a look, and that will be linked down below if you're interested in the merchandise that you can get that are available in lots of different toy stores that are linked to the Little Mermaid movie. As I said, my boys are obsessed at the moment with the Ninja Turtles. So we've got lots of Ninja Turtles merch at the moment. All of my children's birthdays run from September all the way up until the 25th of November. So there have already been birthday gifts along the way, as well as opportunities in shops where I couldn't walk away without buying some of these things in advance. So these are teddy versions of the Ninja Turtles, but really impressed with the figurines, the toy figurines, where they can sort of pretend to be Ninja Turtles and act out the movies. And they have every single character available, as well as the weapons. I'm not so into the weapons, but the figurines I don't mind them playing with, as well as the soft toys. So those were the Ninja Turtle toys, and those will be linked below. As I said, we also went to see the Super Mario movie. So I'm just going to hold this up to you. This is like a little metal collectible Super Mario car toy. So we know the very famous links to Nintendo that Super Mario has. They made a movie of it. Mario Kart is one of the key features that feature throughout the film and all of the video games. And in line with the film, a collection of the characters in their own little Mario Karts or whichever cars that they drive. They are metal, they're quite good quality. This was about $6.99. So if you were going to get the whole collection for every single character, that could potentially add up. What I have done is I've got some for birthday, some for Christmas. It won't be the full collection, but if you do want the full collection, my son plays with this. He literally doesn't let this go, walks around with it all of the time. The next item are also linked to the children's favourite cartoon characters and cartoons. There are obviously film versions of all of these things, but the next thing is Paw Patrol toys. So you can get smaller Paw Patrol figurines like these that are quite reasonable and available in lots of supermarkets, Amazon, etc. And then the latest Paw Patrol movie came out in the cinema over the October half term, and they have now released all of the new toys and merchandise that are related to that film. So any of the new cars or vehicles that feature in the more recent version of the film is now available, so I will link those down below as well. You can also get them in your local supermarkets. My 6-year-old is obsessed with Super Wings. So Super Wings is a popular cartoon about a little plane that delivers packages all around the world and goes on lots of adventures with children who teach him different languages. You learn about lots of interesting facts about the different parts of the world that the planes travel to. And the Super Wings are like a collection of other little super jets that go and help Jet, the main character, solve lots of problems in different places around the world. So it's a great cartoon, and we have got pretty much every single Super Wings figurine that ever exists because one of my children is obsessed with them. So those are just some key ideas for, merchandise that are associated with programs or cartoons that your children may have seen in the past year. Okay, so the next section of toys or items that I'm going to show you sort of come under the STEM or STEAM category. Now, that is science, technology, engineering, maths. It's about learning a whole host of different skills under the umbrella of all of those. The first thing that I'm going to show you are these Magnetiles. So this is a collection of Magnetiles that my children have. You can buy different collections that come in like, a pack of 20, a pack of 50, a pack of 80, a pack of 100. And I would say that if you have a pack of 50 Magnetiles, you've got quite a good start-up collection, and it allows them to build and connect and create in all sorts of ways. So they're effectively just these magnetic tiles that stick together, and you can get really creative creating all sorts of shapes, and you've got lots of different shapes. You can create houses, and you can see how these all just connect together, and they can build and create towers and houses and all sorts. And it's non-ended play, so they can be as creative as they want, and it's developing fine motor skills, creativity, it's engineering because they're building structures and all of those sorts of things. And my children play with these for hours. There are lots of different accessories that you can get with them. So this was like a sort of cart that came with as an additional pack. And you can also have square tiles that have, let me see if I can find one, holes in them like this, where you can add letters. So sort of letter and number tiles. So you can create opportunities for educational play as your children are exploring. But I really highly recommend those. And those are really suitable for all age groups, really, because my children have had them since they were toddlers. They're now just turning 5 and 6, and they still get hours of play out of those. And you only need to buy them once. And if they really do like them, you can add to them, and they're really durable and sustainable. And so you can pass them on to other children if and when your children actually get bored of them. The second item is Lego. You can hear it all jiggling around in there. Or Duplo blocks. So Duplo are the slightly bigger blocks that are the stage before Lego. Lego have got really tiny pieces, so do look at the age guidance on the boxes. We don't want any choking hazards for children who it's not suitable for. If you've got children in different ages, always be careful with the little one if your older ones have got Lego, and always supervise when your children are playing with Lego pieces. There are lots of online handbooks, as well as the handbooks that come with all of the packages. And this Lego kit my son recently received for his 6th birthday, and it was building these different cars. And if you sit and supervise, or if your child is able to kind of do the Lego pieces on their own and they're quite proficient with following instructions, they can spend hours sort of doing this. And you can build up over time a really large collection. And because it's Lego, all of the pieces connect together, and they can just be creative and build their own things if they want to. But if you've got younger children, I will link the Duplo version, which are the slightly bigger blocks, which don't pose choking hazard, but still encourage the creativity, development of fine motor skills, engineering because they're building structures and all of those sorts of things as well. One of my children at the moment, and this is linked to school and the learning that's taking place at school, is currently obsessed with the number blocks. So number blocks, there is like a YouTube or online series where the number blocks, which are effectively these little counting blocks, but they have faces, they help children learn to count initially, and then to develop further math skills with addition and subtraction and eventually multiplication as they get older. And there's lots of rhymes and songs that help them to learn that. So there is on the younger level puzzles that are available in the number blocks range, where you can see they just match the different amounts to the blocks, to the number, etc., all the way up to 10. You can have this pack here. Excuse the rip in the packaging, because it was ripped open for a birthday recently. And you literally get all of the number blocks all the way up to 10 in different colours. You get stickers for the faces so that you can make them actually look like the number blocks in the programme. Inside of this, there are lots of accessories. So there are counting cards that have got maths problems and questions on them. You get a whole host of different game cards at different levels, where either it's matching the blocks in the right colour and counting, or for harder levels or for children who are more proficient, doing number sums that you can see at the bottom of that card. That's really fun play, but also educational at the same time. So again, I highly recommend that. And if you, like me, have got children at different ages, it can be passed down or passed along to the next child along, because they're available at different age levels. And if you get a few in the collection, it will be suitable for as many children that you actually have. Another toy that falls into the STEM or STEAM field are the Backham range. So this is another magnetic toy, but they are a series of balls and sort of miniature poles that can be stuck together to create lots of different structures. I'll stick those up on the screen for you to see now. But I do highly recommend them, because again, similar to the Magnetiles, it's non-ended play, it's educational, it's engineering, it allows your children to be creative, it develops fine motor skills, and it's one of those toys that really have a purpose and help to learn and develop skills in lots of different areas for younger children up to much older children as well. There is a space kit on Amazon that I just discovered recently, and I looked this up because my youngest, who is 4 turning 5 this month, has been learning about planets and the solar system in reception, and so he has come home really enthusiastic, telling me all of the names of the planets. And I feel like you should always jump on the bandwagon when your children are really enthusiastic about sharing something that they've learned, or when they become a little bit obsessed with something that's educational or you know, really important knowledge like that. And so there's a space kit. It's like a creative art space kit with sort of clay balls, and you have all of the colours and the paints and stickers and things like that, where you can do a creative art session and create the planet in our solar system. The other thing that I spotted was this darts set. So basically, effectively, it's a sort of fabric darts board that you can pin to any wall, and there are a whole host to choose from in terms of the backgrounds and the themes and the designs, whether it's numbers and more addition based, slightly more higher math skills in terms of getting the children to add up their scores and things like that, or they have like just nice sort of cartoon characters on them. And effectively, it's about your children throwing balls that are Velcro based against the dartboard, and then seeing if they can add up their points to see who gets the highest points. Okay, so next we're going into reading and literature. And the first thing that I'm going to suggest is the Tonies Box. So this is essentially an audio box. It's fantastic for bedtime reading. What happens is you buy the box and you buy the Tonies Box starter kit. It comes with a little Tony character that gets you set up. It works via Wi-Fi and Bluetooth and all of those sorts of things. And essentially you buy little story characters which sit on the square just up here. Place that on top, and effectively it will tell the story or sing the songs or whatever Tony character that you've bought and placed on top. It will play the audio for that particular thing. Now they're mostly stories. You can get all sorts on there now. It's up to you to decide which characters. We've got Lion King, we've got Monsters Inc., we've got Paw Patrol stories as well, and it's really just good for you know, having in their rooms or in a room around the house, getting them to sit calm, be focused, listen to a story. You could also have the storybook version open and get them to read along while they're listening. And it's also good for giving you a break when it comes to bedtime stories, because everyone can sit there in the dark listening to this. And so I find that this is really great. So I highly recommend that. An alternative to the Tonies Box is the Yoto Player. So again, it's a cubed little device, electronic device. We don't have that because we have the Tonies Box. And again, it's an audio player, but instead of having little characters like the Tonies Box, I'll put this on screen for you so that you can see and you know what I'm speaking about. They have little audio cards that you slot into the Yoto Player. I think you can have podcasts, stories, you can play music. You can get headphones for both devices, both the Tonies Box and the Yoto Player. So if you are traveling or you're on a long car journey and they want to listen to their stories or their songs or whatever it is that they're listening to on either the Tonies Box or the Yoto Player, you can add headphones and they can listen to that quietly without disturbing anyone else around them. So highly recommend both of those boxes, and those will be linked down below. We're moving now into classic bedtime reading. So some of our favourites are The Hungry Caterpillar. Now, given that it's Christmas, I just wanted to show you The Hungry Caterpillar's Christmas Eve, which is nice and golden sparkly and very festive. And we've got Happy Christmas from The Hungry Caterpillar as well. But also just making sure that you're stocked up on your general classic bedtime stories. So your Julia Donaldsons and Michael Rosen's. So we've got Bear Hunt. This is Little Rabbit Foo-Foo by Michael Rosen. We've got The Gruffalo's Child and all of those sorts of stories. So just taking the time to review your bedtime story collection and utilising the sort of Cyber Month discounts and deals that are on special offers and filling in any gaps, or just refreshing your collection, because we do know that we get bored of reading the same stories at bedtime every single day. But the thing with these classic stories is that it's really good for building language, increasing vocabulary, supporting with speech development. My 6-year-old is autistic and mostly non-verbal, but his speech is coming on leaps and bounds because we read all of the time. I've got on my Amazon storefront a collection of really fantastic, highly recommended children's books by Black authors. This is We're Going to Find the Monster by Mallory Blackman and Dapper Adiola. We've got Look Up. This is also illustrated by Dapo Adiola. This one was recently featured at the Children's Story Centre in Stratford. If you haven't been there, it's like an immersive story world. Really fantastic day out at weekends or half terms or holidays. And they created a whole immersive experience out of this book. So that was really fantastic. This is a highly recommended book and very festive. My Grandma's Magic Recipes, Winter Warmth, and this is by Ella Phillips, who is a very good friend of mine and a fantastic children's author. So highly recommend that. And it is all about sort of Christmas and festive recipes, and there are some recipes in the back at the back end of the story that you can do with your children. Diversifying your children's books is just really important, just so that they can see people that look like, you know, not necessarily like themselves or like themselves. Just opens them up to the world and just, you know, promotes positivity and inclusivity. This is I Love My Hair. Also good for Black children who sometimes struggle with their hairstyles, their hair texture, and comparing themselves to other children in their class who've got completely different hair types. This beautiful book by Lupita, who we know is a beautiful, fantastic Hollywood actress. The imagery in this is absolutely beautiful. Vashti Harrison, who also has her own collection of books, has illustrated this, and I've worked with her really recently on a project I was project managing, and her artwork is absolutely fantastic. And so much is a classic in terms of Black children's literature. So just some ideas there for you about how you can increase and diversify your children's book collection. Also, in terms of literature and writing, an LCD pad or a glow pad like this one is fantastic. So you can either have an LCD pad that comes with a little pen and they can scribble and it comes up in all sorts of colours. They press a button and it instantly goes away. There are some fantastic deals on places like TikTok Shop and all of those sorts of things where you can get LCD glow writing pads for pennies, like literally really cheap. They are also available on Amazon and I will link those ones down below. This is a glow pad my son recently received as a birthday gift, and this one has got a special sort of painting pens, and you turn a light on underneath it and then the picture really comes to life. Again, this one is a wipe away board because it is a sort of paint type pen. It doesn't make a mess unless it only sort of really transfers onto the LCD pad here or the glow pad here. So anything like that I also highly recommend, and again that will be linked down below. The next thing that I wanted to talk to you about was LeapPad or VTEC electronic games. They have got lots of books, writing toys, and lots of electronic devices that are learning focused, that start as basic as this with, you know, just learning the alphabet, to leap pads where you use a pen and you go along and it supports your child with learning to read or sounding out words, letter sounds, and all of those sorts of things. They have book versions, they have tablet versions, laptop versions, all sorts. So I will link a few of those down below. And I just think that because they're electronic, they can be a little bit pricey. So getting in there now during Cyber Month, looking for deals and offers. If I find any, I will make sure they're linked below or linked in the blog post that will accompany this video. But the electronic learning devices are really good to get, and there are a vast range for all different ages. So now we come to slightly older children. Okay, so the things that I suggest for older children are, if they haven't already got one, a phone. My daughter is due an upgrade. So Christmas is the perfect time to get the sort of life admin done and get that organised and ready for her to open under the Christmas tree. The next thing is a handheld game. So a Nintendo Switch or even Game Boys are coming back into fashion. I'll put each of those on the screen so that you can see. My children are still a bit young and my daughter's not interested in gaming whatsoever, so I don't have any of those to hand, and I'm not going to buy them just to show you for the video. So you can see here on the screen and they're linked down below, but the Nintendo Switch seems to be fantastic because they've adapted it so that, as well as it being a portable game, that if your children are into gaming, you can literally take it away with you on holiday, on the plane, on a long drive in the car. They can sit at home and play it independently while other people are doing other things, keeping them occupied. But you can also take the sides off and it becomes like a sort of control pad, and you can connect it to your television so that the game that they're playing in their Nintendo Switch can also be played on the TV. So it's almost a 2-for-1. Game Boys are really retro and really cool. Super Mario has made a huge comeback with the film being released this year. So bringing our modern children back in time to the handheld games that we used to play, I think is really cool, and there's some really good devices out there and versions of the Game Boy. You can get a really old school retro one, or the key games on there with things like Tetris and Snake and things like that. I know that my older children definitely want a pair of trainers, and so Jordans seem to be Jordan 1s and Jordan 4s, I keep being told. I'll put either of those on the screen for you here. Are the thing that are on lots of teenagers' wish lists. But speak to your children and see what it is that they're into. So I am holding up a pair of Beats headphones. So I highly suggest headphones for older children. I know that AirPods seem to be a thing, but I think overhead headphones are sort of coming back around into fashion. And obviously Beats are linked with Apple. You can get these in the Apple store because Apple now own the company. You can get them on Amazon. I'll link these ones down below. But these or AirPods, Beats also do a version of their AirPods. I train with the Beats versions of AirPods because they just sit more comfortably in my ear, and are sort of more sporty styles for when you're working out in the gym. Not necessarily relevant for younger children, just to so you know that there are a whole range of options and different styles of headphones that are mostly wireless these days, that connect via Bluetooth, and so you don't necessarily have lots of string attached to you. The other thing that seems to be really popular at the moment is a drone. So we know that lots of young people are interested in creating content, whether that's on TikTok or Instagram, Snapchat, all of those sorts of things. So having a drone where they can get overhead shots or start to explore videography in a slightly different way and from slightly different angles, I think is a really cool idea. When we were looking at the STEM section for the younger children, I forgot to mention a buildable robot. So I'll link that here, but there was also a version for older children. So if your children are into building, connecting technology, the modern world and all that AI and all that has to offer, there is some really quite developed robot building kits that are available online now. And finally, for older children, I think a fail-safe way of putting a smile on their faces at Christmas time is to give them money. They sometimes do have their own lists or ideas of things that they want. They could be saving for a bigger purchase or an item that, you know, they're longing for that might not be reasonable in terms of cost right now in the moment. So giving them money, giving them independence and choices of whether to invest it or to save it or to save up for a special item that they want to get. Speaking about money, the other thing is opening up your children an investment ISA, a children's ISA. Now, I'm not a financial expert, and I think you should do your research when it comes to this. This isn't a sort of flippant, let me just go and put all this money in here. But I was watching a TikTok from a financial specialist, and he was giving an example of how much money you could save or make for your children if, while they were 10 years old now, you put £100 a month into a children's ISA for them. And he gave examples of how much money that would compound to when they turn to 18, when they turn to 30, 40, 50, and all the way up until retirement age. And no one's saying that you are going to invest £100 a month until your child retires. But it could be that you save money on a monthly basis, whatever is doable. £100 was just a sort of example option. It can be less than that. It can be more than that, given whatever your finances allow. But the idea of compound interest and putting money away for your children so that they can get their first home purchase or a deposit, or that they just have some sort of financial backing behind them when they turn to adulthood, was really, really impressive. And the more you learn about investments and ISAs and compound interest and all of those sorts of things, it shows you just how, you know, financially stable could help the next generation to be. So that's something to look into. Instead of just handing them money, it could be that you save on their behalf. And when they become 18 or 20 or 30, you say, here, look, this is what I've done for you, because I think that would be a really, really nice gift. Okay, so the next things that I'm going to speed through don't necessarily belong to any category, but I'm just going to show them to you just because they're things that my children have that they seem to really enjoy. I haven't actually inflated the ball here, but I'm just going to hold up this toy. It's called a hip hopper. So this, you need a bicycle pump to blow this up and it turns into like orange ball. You stand on this bit, you hold the handles, and then your children can literally bounce around the house. Now, my 6-year-old is autistic and does not stop jumping or bouncing off of the walls, the furniture or anything. So one of my friends bought this for him for his birthday. We haven't got round to inflating it just because there've been so many birthdays. There are toys all over this house, as you can clearly see from this video. But this is fantastic. If, like me, you have got a child who likes to bounce all around, if you don't have a trampoline, we do have a bit of space downstairs so that he can actually do this, as well as a garden. So if you are short on space, you might not necessarily want to get this unless you were only going to use it outside or at the park or things like that. But if you have a child like me that loves bouncing, this hip hopper seems to be a fantastic toy. Secondly, I'm just going to show you some games that are appropriate for children. This is Hungry Hippos. I had absolutely no intention of buying this, but there was a bit of a meltdown in the supermarket the other day, and just to appease a very hysterical child, I ended up buying this. And actually, my two youngest have sat there, and it's a really child-friendly for younger children sort of interactive board game where you're trying to eat as many balls as possible, and it's about teamwork and you know encouraging winning and things like that. Counting's involved because then you've got to count how many balls that you've actually successfully eaten and all of those sorts of things. This and Connect 4 for younger children is absolutely fantastic. For slightly older children, we have 5-second rule. And there's a new game out. I don't know whether it's new, but I've seen somebody else speak about it, and it's called You Can't Say And believe me, I say so much, particularly in these videos. So I think on Christmas Day, a game like that would be really, really quite funny. An iPad for a child of absolutely any age is a must-have, quite frankly. You can get, for younger children, you can get refurbished ones on Amazon or in the Apple Store that are significantly cheaper than what it is on full price. I think if you're doing it for children, you don't necessarily need to get one that's brand new. For older children who might be using them for educational purposes, to support with homework and study, maybe getting a brand new one is good, but making sure that it's insured and all of those sorts of things is really important, because these are high ticket items, and so we want to protect them. For younger children, you can also get silicone or rubber cases that protects the outside so that if they're dropped or thrown. Just thinking about travel, and also in addition to iPads and tablets, etc., whichever ones that you go for, having headphones that are compatible with your children's devices is fantastic. This is good for if you're going on an aeroplane, a train, anything, to keep them occupied so that they can hear whatever it is that they're listening to, game or film, program, and I will link those down below. So last Christmas, I got my daughter this karaoke machine. Now, I knew that we were going to probably end up keeping it downstairs over the Christmas period, so I chose to get one that had a bit of a retro design that kind of went in with the aesthetic of the rest of my house. It's Bluetooth enabled, and so you can connect your phone to it. You can connect it to your TV so that you can have words on the screen. It comes with 2 microphones and a charger. So I'll link that down below, and I highly recommend that. If you've got all of the family round at Christmas, it ends up being quite a laugh. So the next thing on the list is a good old pair of Crocs. I'm not quite sure why Crocs have become so popular in the past year, but I've got a pair right here. In addition to this, in terms of accessorizing Crocs, they now have like some Crocs charms, or I can't remember what they're called. If you go to the actual Crocs website, they're actually quite extortionate. On Amazon, you can get like a whole pack of charms that are themed in different categories that you can put into the little holes and really personalize your own Crocs. So lots of teenagers are opting for Crocs, whether it's just for comfort, for fashion, for ease of just slipping your feet into them. I have no idea, but they seem to have gone crazy for them. The next thing is a North Face puffer jacket. So I'll put it up on the screen here now. North Face are really fantastic for winter outerwear. They specialise in lots of ski wear and things like that. So if you want to spend decent money for a good winter coat, North Face is actually a really decent brand to go for, because you know that your child will be really warm. A Stanley Cup. I'm not that into these, but my daughter does have this on her wish list. Essentially, it's one of the sort of metal water cups. It's got a thinner bottom. It's quite tall, so you can have quite a lot of water in it. Straw at the top handle. It's thinner at the bottom, so that if you are driving, you can put it in your cup holder in your car. You can get dupes on Amazon. The actual Stanley Cup itself is quite extortionate for a water bottle. So I'll put the actual Stanley Cup, and I'll also link some dupes if you want a slightly cheaper alternative but still get the feel for that particular item. A Dior lip oil. This is on her list. I will be getting this for her just because she always steals mine. Is this it? No, that's my Dior nail varnish that she's stolen. Really hydrating. They do dupes on Amazon, but I'm always really careful about skincare and makeup dupes because I'm not sure about the ingredients. I'd rather pay full price for the actual item because you know that it's got safe products and ingredients in it. And as a teenage girl, that's just what she's into. The next thing on my item for kids is a skateboard. So we're moving into slightly more active things. My 2 youngest just became interested in skateboarding. What I suggest is that you get helmets and knee and elbow pads if they're trying these things out. but it encourages motor skills and all of those sorts of things. And, you know, you want to keep them active. You can't protect them and wrap them up in cotton wool for their whole lives. The next thing is a micro scooter. So my son has had this since he was 2 years old, and it was fantastic because it adapted. It used to have a seat and a handle so that before he was able to kind of maneuver it himself, you could kind of support him with it. Then it was, you could take the handle off and it just be a seat and he could sit and scoot with 2 feet. Then it was that, you know, you could have the handle much shorter than this until you adapt it to much higher. And it means that all of the children have been able to use this. Micro scooter, the micro mini scooter, I really highly recommend it. Like I said, he's had this since he was 2 and he's now 6 years old, and it's still in absolute pristine condition. And both of my youngest children use that all of the time. This is a balance bike. It's by the brand Hornet. I was very particular about which balance bikes that I chose for the boys. So we've got one in blue and one in red. These are slightly higher end just because of the aeronautical design, which the bike specialist Hornet applies to the design structure of their bikes. Now, balance bikes are the step before moving on to a pedal bike. And the idea behind balance bikes is that if they're balancing and developing the skill of balancing without pedals, when they transition to a pedal bike, because they know how to balance and they become accustomed to the feeling of balancing, because they've been on a balance bike for so long, that the motion of and the skill of learning to cycle just actually comes a lot more quicker. So we are actually going to be transitioning to pedal bikes this Christmas. So both of the youngest are going to get pedal bikes. Those are fantastic, highly recommended balance bikes. So I'll link those, and I'll also link the pedal bikes that we're interested in getting them for Christmas this year too. And another item that's fantastic for children of all ages is a keyboard or piano, whatever space in your home allows. This is good for the younger ones. You can see that this one came with a whole host of stickers that helps to identify the different keys and chords so that you can visually learn the chords and learn to play. You can attach an iPad and an app to this, as well as using traditional music books to learn to play. As a part of my daughter's music course at school, they use keyboards quite a lot as a part of the music course. And while she's not having sort of personal piano lessons, it still ends up being quite a big part of what she has to do in her weekly lessons. So I got that for her for supporting her learning at school. But the younger children, when that is plugged in, will happily sit there and play. So my daughter this week has been teaching them to play the Harry Potter theme tune, and which she's learnt in school this week. And because we've been watching Harry Potter from the beginning, and we've trying to watch all 8 films in the run up to Christmas, they're quite familiar with the theme tune and recognise playing it. So the youngest has been really keen to try and play it. And then my 6-year-old just loves pressing the buttons and listening to the music. So. And then finally, for children of all ages and experience. Now you're probably thinking, how is that an experience? This is a Simba toy from The Lion King, the musical. So I took my youngest to see The Lion King. He's Lion King obsessed. We are going back because we're going to take my 6-year-old. Because he's autistic, we wasn't sure whether or not he would sit through it. But actually, he is now at an age where he will sit through things. And because shows like The Lion King, a lot of the Disney musicals in the West End are so interactive and immersive, that I actually feel like it will hold his attention. So buying theatre tickets and things like that for shows and experiences, I think is a really, really good idea. And finally, a pre or post Christmas trip to somewhere like Centre Parks that gives you all of the festive feels, if your budget can stretch to that. Experiences and spending time with family are the most important things at Christmas. Yes, I've shown you lots of toys. It doesn't mean you have to buy every single one of them or even any of them. But Christmas is about giving, it's about sharing, but most importantly, it's about love and family. So trying to create opportunities where you can share that joy together, you can spend time with your family is really, really important. And those are the sort of gifts and the memories that come from those experiences are the things that we treasure forever. So that is the end of my kids gift guide. As you can see, it streams from youngest all the way to oldest, and I hope that has inspired some ideas. Absolutely everything that I can link will be linked down below, and thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. I'm doing a lot more of these gift guides. I've got a teen gift guide coming up and a gift guide for women coming up, and all of those videos will be coming out over the period of Cyber Month, which is November, in the run up to Black Friday and just after, to help support you and inspire you to get ready for the festive period. So thank you very much for watching. Give it a like and subscribe, turn on the notifications so you know when a new video has been posted, and thank you very much for watching.